Yeah, so I'm coming live after a very long time. I think it's been more than 3 months. I'm really sorry I couldn't come before. But yeah, this year's resolution, I'll be coming live more. Yeah, so far we have been doing SAT, if you remember, right? So we have done all the 6 blue book practice tests and 1 resolve prep test and all the SAT College Board Education Educator question bank. Like some of the question bank we have done, a few is remaining. So we'll also continue with that. But today I'm going to start with a new uh, playlist that is AP Precalculus. So this was introduced last year itself. So this year they are going to be this year is going to be the second exam. So AP Precalculus, it is for advanced placement and it is widely used in United States of America, that is USA. And then the paper, like any other AP exam, this also consists of MCQs and FRQs. So in this particular live, I'm going to talk about the MCQ, and there are 3 practice tests published or released by AP College Board. So this is the first practice test, and I procured it through Reddit. So I got it from Reddit. So thank you whoever posted this link, and I was able to download this particular PDF. So this is the MCQ paper that I'm going to solve. In this also there are 2 sections, no calculator section and calculator section. So the first section is no calculator and the second section is calculator section. There are 4 units in AP exam, but the exam only comprises of 3 units. The fourth unit is optional. You can learn about it, not learn about it. It'll depend how your school treats it. So there are 3 units. The first one is your polynomial and rational functions. Second is exponential and logarithmic functions. And the third one and the last one is trigonometry and polar functions. So we'll start with the practice test. These are MCQ questions. So let's go ahead. And also one more thing, I think you might have seen the short. So the website has been launched. So if you want to take one-on-one personalized live classes, you can also go through our website and fill out the form and take the free demo session, and yeah, we can move on forward from there. So the link is also in the, I will also put the link in the description, but it is also there on the thumbnail. So yeah, without further delay, we'll start. I know there will not be many viewers today because I'm coming after a long time. And the timing is also not very apt according to US because I live in India, so I'm doing it at this time. So yeah, let's begin. So this is the first practice test, and I hope my video is a little bit clearer today. I hope so because I've connected to my mobile as I'm looking there. Yeah. So I hope there's a better video quality and there's a better audio quality. If there's any issue, you can let me know. Yeah. So yeah, this is practice exam section 1. These are MCQ multiple choice questions. There are 2 parts. Part A is no calculator section, and no calculator is allowed for this part of the exam, and the total time that will be given to you is 1 hour and 20 minutes, and total number of questions is 28. So if we see how many, so there are how many minutes? 1 hour is 60. 80 minutes are given to you, and there are 28 questions. So we'll have to do 80 divided by 28. Let's do that. So that means for each question, you'll roughly get 2.8 minutes, approximately 2 to 3 minutes you can spend on every single question. All right. Yeah, so over here, there's a space available after every exam. You'll have to, you can use that space for scratch work. Yeah, and you have to decide which choice is best. Yeah. And angle measure for trigonometric functions are assumed to be in radians. So that's a important thing to remember. Now this is the first question. A polynomial function p is given by p of x is equal to negative x times x minus 4 times x plus 2. What are all intervals on which p of x is greater than or equal to 0? So this is from the first unit, polynomial and rational functions, and this is polynomial inequalities. And for polynomial inequalities, we'll be making the sign diagram. Okay. So the factors are already given to you, so you don't have to convert it into factored form. We'll just have to write the zeros on the number line. So now I'll do that. So this is a number line that I've drawn. And as you can see, negative x, x minus 4, x plus 2. So the zeros are x is equal to 0, x is equal to 4, and x is equal to negative 2. So I will put them in order. Negative 2 comes first, then comes 0, and then comes 4. Okay. And now once we have written the zeros, now we have to identify the sign in each section. Now that you can see it has been divided into 1, 2, 3, and 4 different sections. And so if you see over here, the leading coefficient is negative because you can see there is a negative over here. And this, so the rightmost, you'll have to find the right hand behavior when x tends to infinity. So what you have to do, you just have to look at the leading coefficient, because when x tends to infinity, only leading coefficient will define whether it is going to be positive or negative. So end behavior on the right side is going to be negative because your leading coefficient is negative. It's negative 1. LC means leading coefficient. So end behavior when x is going to positive infinity, your f of x is going to negative infinity. That means this is going to be negative. And then because all of them are having a multiplicity of 1, now you alternate the sign. Over here it is minus, it will become plus over here. It will become minus over here, it will become plus over here. Okay, now they're looking for where it is greater than or equal to 0. So greater than or equal to 0, that means where it is plus. So it is negative infinity to negative 2. And then 0 to 4. This is our answer. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. So negative infinity to negative 2 and then 0 to 4, that is option D. So option D is our correct answer. And this was the first question. So this is from the topic polynomial inequalities. Now going to the second question. I'll bring it together. Yeah, now it's easier. And I will erase the first question. Or I think I'll go to the next page. Better. So the second question is, the function f is given by f of x is equal to 9 times 25 to the power x. Which of the following is an equivalent form for f of x? You can see they have written 5. So 25 can be written as 5 squared. So you have 9 times 25 to the power x. The base has been turned to 5. So 25 is 5 squared. So it will be 5 squared to the power x. That is 9 times 5 to the power 2x. And that is option D. So question number 2 has an answer of option D. So if we see the answers, the first one was also D and the second one is also D. Now moving forward to the third question. Okay, this is the graph given to us. Okay, and now let's see what they're asking in the question. So they're saying that the figure shows the graph of a function f The zero and extrema for f are labeled, and the point of inflection of the graph is labeled. So point of inflection, zeros, maxima, minima, extrema, everything is being labeled. A, B, C, D, and E represent the x coordinates at those points. Of the following, on which intervals f is increasing and the graph of f is concave down. So you have to find out increasing and concave down. Just give me a second, I will. I'm thinking of doing something, but will I be able to do it? Okay. So now question number 3. So in this graph, you can see from A to B, it is increasing and it is concave down. Or I'll make the graph. The approximate shape. I think it is something like this. No. Yeah. Sorry. And the points are, this is E, this is B, over here is C, you have D over here, and E over here. Okay. So now C to E, you can see it's concave up. So A to C, it is concave down. And C to C is your point of inflection because that is where the shape of the graph is changing and this is concave up. So we want concave down, and from A to C, you can see A to B, it is increasing, B to C, it is decreasing. In fact, C to D also it is increasing, so B to D it is decreasing, and then D to E it is increasing. So the interval that satisfies both the things is A to B. And here also I can say A to B is concave down and then B to C is concave down as well. So our answer is A to B. And that is option A. From the interval from A to B is the correct answer. So the answer is option A. Hmm. Now moving to the fourth question. So this was also from the first unit, because this is a polynomial function and you have to identify whether it is increasing and concave down. So the characteristics of the graph. The second question was from exponential. So here you'll have to apply the properties of exponents. 25 can be written as 5 squared. And first question was again from polynomial inequalities. So far we had polynomial inequalities, equivalent representation of exponential functions, that is unit 2, and this question is again from unit 1, where you have to find whether it is increasing and concave down. Now this is the next question, question number 4. So you have to find the end behavior. So this is also from the first unit because this is a polynomial function. And this is pretty straightforward. The leading coefficient is positive. So on the, when x is going to positive infinity, f of x is going to infinity. So from that we can cancel out option A and option D, only option B and option C. And then it is an even function, so it will be same on both sides, left side and right side. So both of them are going to infinity. Option B is the correct answer. It is option B. Why? Because you have 5x to the power 6. This is your leading term. We are only interested in leading term. Leading coefficient is positive and degree is even. So both are going to be going the same direction. And with leading coefficient, we can see what is going to happen when it is going to positive infinity. And same direction on both sides. That is why when it is going to negative infinity also, f of x becomes negative infinity. Sorry, positive infinity, my bad. And that is option B. Alright, both of them are positive infinity. Yeah, that's about it. And now moving to the next question. Let x and y be positive constants. Which of the following is equivalent to 2 ln x minus 3 ln y? So now this question is from the second unit, and that is logarithms, and you will have to find the, you'll have to condense the logarithm. So we'll apply the properties of logs. So 2 ln x will become ln x squared, 3 ln y will become ln y cubed. They're subtracted, so we'll have to divide them. So ln x squared over y cubed, option A. I'll write the entire process. So you have 2 ln x minus 3 ln y. This will be ln x squared minus ln y cubed, because this thing over here goes in the exponent, whatever is in multiplication, and because logs are subtracted, you will have to divide the arguments. So option A is the correct answer. All right. Now question number 6. The polynomial function p is given by p of x is equal to x plus 3x squared minus 2x minus 15. How many zeros are there? So for this, because there is no calculator allowed, so x squared minus 2x minus 15, we will factorize it. X plus 3x squared minus 2x minus 15. So over here, x squared minus 2x minus 15, two numbers which will give you a product of negative 15 and sum of negative 2, 5 and 3. And because it is negative 2, 5 will be bigger, negative. Bigger number will be negative and smaller number will be positive. So this can be written as x plus 3 whole squared times x minus 5. So there are only two distinct zeros. Because at negative 3, the multiplicity is true. Multiplicity is 2. And which option is that? So P has exactly two distinct real zeros. And why we can say that? Because you see the degree is 3, because there is x plus 3 and x squared, so it's x cubed. So degree is 3, so there should be 3 zeros, and we have 3 zeros, but there are two distinct zeros. Okay, it does not have 3 distinct real zeros because one of them has a multiplicity of 2. So the answer will not be B, the answer will be A. So question number 6 is A. P has exactly two distinct real zeros. So you have to factorize and you have to see if there is any common factor or not. That's about it. Moving to the next question. Question number 7. In the xy plane, the graph of a rational function f has a vertical asymptote at x is equal to negative 5. Which of the following could be an expression for f of x? So vertical asymptote means what? It should be a part of the denominator and denominator only. It should not cancel out. If it cancels out, it becomes a whole. If it is on the top, it becomes 0. If it is on both, it becomes whole. And if it is only in the denominator, then it becomes vertical asymptote. So at x is equal to negative 5. So over here, if you see all the options, now I'll move a little, yeah, so that you can see all the options. So x is equal to negative 5 is a vertical asymptote. Option A is already gone because it is not in the denominator. Option B is gone because x plus 5 cancels. That's a whole. Option C is gone because x plus 5 is on the top. That makes it a 0 and not a vertical asymptote. In option D, you have x plus 5 in the denominator. So x cannot equal to negative 5 or x equals negative 5 is the vertical asymptote. So the option is D. So question number 7 is D. I'll explain the logic. For vertical asymptote at x is equal to negative 5, that means x plus 5 is in the denominator. After simplifying. Alright, in the first option it is on the top. So that is gone. In option B. It is on both top and bottom, so it's a whole. So in option A and C, it's a 0. In option B, it's a whole. And in option D, it was a vertical asymptote. You can see it over here. Okay. And if you want, we can give that clarification also. A and C, it's a 0. And in option B, it's a whole. And in option D, it's a vertical asymptote. So the answer is option D. Now the next question. Again, a graph is given to you. Let's see what the question is asking. The question is saying that let f be a sinusoidal function. The graph of y is equal to f of x is given in the xy plane. What is the period of f? So they're looking for period. So this comes in third unit. Period is when the value starts repeating themselves, when the graph starts repeating itself. So we'll have to go back again to the graph. And in the graph, you can see what just happened. Okay. So in the graph, you can see that it's starting at 0. So the best way is because it is coming at 0 at 2 also, it's coming at 0 at 4 also. But if you see, the shape is starting at 4 again. So the period is 4. The other way to do is you look at two maximum points. So the first maximum point is at 1, the other one is at 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. That is why it becomes the period. Or you can take a look at the two minimum points also. It's negative 1 and 3. So that distance is also 4. So the period is 4. Let me make it. So this is at negative 1. Sorry, this is at 1 and this is at 5. So this is 4. This is at negative 1. This is at 3. So this is also 4 because 1 and 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. So period is equal to 4. Or if you see this shape, it starts repeating over here from 0. This is 0, this is 0, this is 4, so this is also 4. So the period is 4. Okay, just... Yeah. And this was question number 8. Period is 4 and let's see which option is giving us 4. It's option C. The only problem is I was able to write on all the PDFs, but this is not giving me permission to write over here. That is why I have to use another whiteboard to solve it. Otherwise, for all the other PDFs, I am directly able to write in the PDF. But that's okay. Now this is the next question. Question number 9. So this is the graph given to us. Okay. Now what is the question asking? It consists of 4 line segments in a semicircle and is shown from -3 to 3. Which of the following is a transformed graph for y is equal to f of x plus 1 minus 2? So f of x plus 1 minus 2. So first we'll identify what are the transformations. We're shifting left by 1 and moving down by 2. Because this means left by left by 1, and this entire thing means down 2. Okay. So now let's see. If you're moving, all right. So domain is -3 to 3. I will just work with domain and range because that's where you can identify. So domain is -3 to 3. If you shift left by 1, everything shifts 1 to the left. So we're subtracting 1. Now it will be from -4 to 4 after transformation. And if you look at the graph, it is going from -2 to 2. -2 to 2 are your y values. And you're shifting down by 2, so you're subtracting 2. So you're going from -4 to 0. That's it. So we have to look in the options, we have to look where the x values are between -4 to 4 and y values are between -4 to 0. So let's start exploring the options. Option 1, -4 to 2. Oh yeah, 3 minus 1 is 2, not 4. My bad. So this thing is going to be 2. Yeah. So the first one, I think it is working because it is going from -4 to 0 and -4 to 2. Option B is not working because it's starting at -2 and it is going up to 4. So that's not what we want. It is shifting right by 1. And then over here, it's starting from -5 and option C, and on option D, they're starting from -1. So the only option that matches our description is option A. So the answer is option A. Okay. And you can see also this value is 2, it will become 0 and it will be shifted 1 to the left. So that is what is happening from -4 to -3, it is 0. And then from -2 to -1, it is decreasing from 2 to 0. If you're shifting everything down by 2, it will be shifting from 0 to -2 and 1 to the left. So 0 to -2 we are going. So that works. And then you're going from 0 to 1. That means you'll be going from -2 to -1. That's also happening. Okay. So it's perfectly matching. So the answer is option A. All right. This is the 10th question. This is the exponential function that is given as a times b to the power x. A and b are positive constants. The table gives the values of f of x at selected values of x. Which of the following statements is true? So the value of a is 3/4 because the value of a is when x is equal to 0. So in question number 10, a is 3/4 is the value of y when x is equal to 0. And b is what you're multiplying. So if you see from the table, yeah, at 2 it becomes 3, at 3 it becomes 6, and at 4 it becomes 12. Correct. So you're multiplying by 2, so the value of b is 2. So a is 3/4, that means a is positive, b is 2, that means b is greater than 1. So this is a growth. And let's see where all these specifications match. It should be growth, so C and D. A is greater than 0 and B is also greater than 1 because B is 2, so option D. Perfect. Now these are composite functions. They are also part of, I think, the second unit. So f of x is given, or it could be first unit also, maybe composition. I think it's second unit. Yeah, it is second unit. So f of x is x squared plus 1 and g of x is x minus 3 over x. Which of the following is an expression for f of g of x? Okay. So f of g of x, so in f of x, wherever you see x, that will be replaced with g of x. So let's do this question. It's question number 11. X squared plus 1. So wherever you have c, x, it will be replaced with g of x. So it will become g of x whole squared plus 1. G of x is x minus 3, so it will become x minus 3 over x whole squared plus 1. So x minus 3 squared over x squared plus 1. This is x squared minus 6x plus 9. We are applying that a minus b whole squared is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So x squared, 2ab is 3 and x, 3 times 2 is 6, 6x, and then plus 9. This is x squared plus 1. And now we'll multiply with x squared both top and bottom because that is the LCD, lowest common denominator. So x squared plus x squared becomes 2x squared. It is 2x squared minus 6x plus 9 over x squared. This is our answer. Oh, option C is already given to us, so we do not need to do it. So let me, yeah, it is the extra steps. I thought I'll have to do it, but you don't need to do it. So this is option C. Because x squared minus 6x plus 9 over x squared plus 1. So option C matches our description. And I'm going to question number 12. Okay. So this is a table given to us, and they want to know what it is modeled by. Option A is linear function. Let's see what are the other options. Other options you have linear, quadratic, quadratic. Okay. So it will be either linear or quadratic. So first identify whether it is linear or quadratic. So for that I'll be making the table 0, 53, 178. 0, 53, 178, 297, 3, 110, 4 is 117. So to find whether it is linear or quadratic, we'll have to find the successive differences. So we'll see 78 minus 53 is how much? You're adding 25 because 5 plus 3 is 8, 5 plus 2 is 7 now. 97 minus 78, 17 minus 8 is 9, 8 minus 7 is, so this is 19. 9 plus 8, 17, 1, yeah, correct. 110 minus 97 is going to be plus 13, 10 minus 7 is 3, 10 minus 1 is, 10 minus 9 is 1. And this is plus 7. So this is not linear because the first successive differences are not constant. So we'll find the second one. Now you're subtracting, not actually adding. 25 to 19, 19 minus 25 is negative 6. 13 minus 19 is negative 6. 7 minus 13 is negative 6. So this is quadratic because the second successive differences are becoming constant. Okay, so it has to be quadratic. So the linear options gets cancelled. So option A and option B are gone, option C and option D. So G is best modeled by a quadratic function because the rate of change over consecutive equal length input value intervals is constant. So rate of change is not constant because the first thing that we write is your rate of change. And the second thing is change of rate of change. Got it? Or change in average rate of change. A means average, R means rate, O means off, C means change. So change in average rate of change is constant, so it will be option D. Because rate of change is not constant. So option D is the correct one. Now question number 13. G of x is 7 times sine 2x. Which of the following is an equivalent form for g of x? So over here we have applied the simple formula. It's question number 13. So this is also from the third unit, the trigonometry. Yeah. And there's a lot to remember over there. So sine 2x is 2 sine x times cosine x. 2 sine x cosine x. So this would become 7 times 2 is going to be 14. 14 sine x cosine x. And that is given in option A. So A is the correct answer. Okay. Because it doesn't matter you write cos x first or sin x first. Because you are multiplying and multiplying is commutative. Now we are almost midway of it. Question number 14. The function g has the property that for each time the input value doubles. So input value is doubling, output value is increasing by 1. So input is proportional, output is linear. So that makes it logarithmic function. So option A is gone, option B it could be. Option C is gone, option D is gone because option C and D are linear. Option A is exponential, so the answer is option B. So they're saying input doubles. Output increases by 1. So this is the definition of log function. A is exponential, B is log, C and D are linear, so they are already gone. So it is option B, and in option B you can also check. For example, when x is equal to 1, it is 0. When x is equal to 2, so x we are multiplying by 2, it becomes 1. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 becomes 2. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 becomes 3. So this is logarithmic. Because at 1 you have 0, at 2 you have 1, at 4 you have 2, and at 8 you have 3. So the input you are multiplying by 2 and you're adding 1 to it. So if you remember the approximate graphs, because the exponential graph looks like this, log looks like this, these are linear. So the vertical asymptote, because log graphs have vertical asymptote, only vertical asymptote. So there's only one function which has vertical asymptote, that is option B. Because in option A there's a horizontal asymptote, so that is why it is exponential. Now question number 15, a complex number is represented by a point in the complex plane. This is also the third unit because we're talking about polar functions. The complex number has the rectangular coordinates 3, 3. Which of the following is one way to express the complex number using its polar coordinates r, theta? So polar coordinates are related to your unit circle and rectangular coordinates are your x and y. Space is not there, so let's make a new page. So I'll first explain the concept. This is any point x, y. This is the radius, this is the theta. Okay. So this is radius, this is theta. And if you make, this is going to be y because, yeah, this is y, this is x. I should have made a bigger one. So x is given to you, y is given to you, you have to find r. So you can see to find r is the hypotenuse. You can apply the formula r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. Okay. And to find theta, theta is how much? Theta is, the opposite, the adjacent. So tan theta is y over x. So theta is going to be tan inverse or arc tan of y over x. Now the coordinates are at the point 3, 3. So when it is 3, 3, that means x is also 3, y is also 3. So you don't even need to take tan inverse because these two are equal. This is a 90 degrees, so theta is equal to 45 degrees. Because this becomes isosceles triangle. And right isosceles triangle is 45, 45, 90. And R, once you know it's a special triangle, right? This is 45, this is 45, this is 90. This is 3, this is 3, this will become 3 square root 2. Or if you want, you can find out 3 squared plus 3 squared is 2 times 3 squared. So R will be 3 square root 2. And now what is the polar form? Polar form is R In parentheses, you have cosine theta plus I sine theta. Why? Because x is equal to r cosine theta, y is equal to r sine theta. So r is 3 square root 2. Cosine 45 is going to be square root 2 over 2 plus I sine 45 is also square root 2 over 2. Oh, they have written in terms of sine. Then it becomes even more easier. 45 degrees, so you have to write in radians because yeah. So theta is pi over 4. So it will be 3 square root 2 cosine pi over 4 because it is in the first quadrant, because 3 comma 3 is in the first quadrant, plus I sine pi over 4. So 3 square root 2 cosine pi over 4 plus iota 3 square root 2 sine pi over 4. Option A is your answer. I hope this is clear, because this would become 3 square root 2 cosine pi over 4 plus iota 3 square root 2 sine pi over 4. Because these two are equal to each other. So that is where is 45 and 45. And r is 3 square root 2. We can use the special right triangles. So 15th is option A. Yeah, moving to the next question. Okay. So you have a circle, there's theta, the radius is 5 because the point is 5, comma 0. You have 2 points P and R. Now the figure shows a circle centered at the origin with an angle of measure theta, radians in the standard position, theta, that is it in the second quadrant. The terminal ray of the angle intersects the circle at point P, and point R also lies on the circle. Coordinates of P are x, comma y, and coordinates of R are x, comma negative y, because it is reflected in the x-axis. Which of the following is true about the sine theta? So sine theta is y upon r. It's the vertical displacement. So option D is your answer. So sine theta is always y over r. And in this circle, you have point P over here, coordinates are x, comma y. Okay, and this angle is theta. And this is 5, comma 0, so r is equal to 5. That is why sine theta is y over 5. And y is what? It is the vertical displacement. So vertical displacement of P from the x-axis to the distance between origin and P, because distance between origin and P is your r. Like this is your r. What is happening? Why it's not working? Yeah. So this is distance between origin and P, and this is the vertical displacement from x-axis. Okay. So option D. It's not negative y over 5 because the coordinate points of angle of P are x comma y, and theta is going from 0 to P, like positive x-axis to point P. Now question number 17. I'll drink more water. The function is given by 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. Which of the following is the image of the graph after a vertical dilation by a factor of 2? Vertical dilation means we'll just multiply by 2. Oh, for the previous question, I will just show you everything. Yeah. Hmm. So question number 17 is 3x squared plus 2x plus 1, vertical dilation by a factor of 2. So we'll multiply everything by 2, 6x squared plus 4x plus 2, option B. Because it's a multiplicative transformation by multiplying f of x by 2. So it's option B. So I can simply write over here 6x squared plus 8x plus 2. So it's 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. So option B. Because dilation is your multiplicative function and vertical means the factor will remain the same. Okay, so you have to find h of 0 and h of 0 is f of g of x. So first we'll have to, so x is 0, so we'll have to find g of 0. G of 0 is 1 and then we have to find f of 1, that is negative 2. Negative 2 is the answer, option A. So you can see the graph. So h of 0 is going to be f of g of 0. G of 0 is 1, f of 1 is negative 2. When x is equal to 0, g is 1. And when x is equal to 1, because now it has become f of 1. So when x is equal to 1, f is negative 2. Here. Now question number 19, g of x is equal to f of 2 times x minus 4. So what are the transformations? So 2 times means there's a horizontal dilation, and for horizontal everything becomes the opposite. If it is multiplied by 2, that means the factor is going to be its reciprocal. So the factor is 1/2 and minus 4 means you're moving right 4. So if you're moving to the right, then it's a plus quantity, so it's option D. Horizontal dilation by a factor of 1/2 and horizontal translation by 4 units. Negative 4 means you are moving to the left. So left is negative, right is positive. Horizontal dilation half and horizontal translation by 4. Okay, so in factor you take the reciprocal and In translation, you take the opposites. It's negative, you're subtracting 4, that means, actually it will be plus 4, right? Plus 4 units. That means you're moving to the right. So it's option D. And also you can directly get rid of option A and option B because I think factor of 2, that is not true. Option C, and D it's 1/2, but in C it's horizontal translation of -4. That doesn't make any sense. It's a function. Okay. So this looks like a sinusoidal function, sine or cosine. So first identify what is the period. You can see the period is pi. Okay. So the way I do it is, from the graph I can make out the period is pi. And how can I make out? Let me see how the graph looks like. One, two, three, 1, 2. Okay. And this is pi over 2. Yeah. This is pi. This is 3 pi over 2 and this is 2 pi. So you're going from pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, and it goes like this. So this thing you can see is pi. And this distance also is going to be pi. Okay. So period is pi. So what I do, I make a unit circle. 0 and it will become pi. So it will be 1/4 of its pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4. So I will tell you, because these are transformed sinusoidal functions, so they can be A times cosine. Let's look at the options as well. Oh yeah, there's everything that is being happening. Everything is happening over here. And there, 2 of them are cosine and 2 of them are sine. So we'll have to write all of them. So it is A times cosine of B times x minus c plus d, or A sine B times x minus c plus d. It can be sine or cosine. So this is the normal structure of this. And now from the graph, we have found out that the period is pi. So we can find the value of b. I will come to this later. Okay. So remember that period is 2 pi over b. And that is equal to pi. That means the value of b is 2. So that means the multiplicative factor is 2. And with that, can we eliminate any option? No, we cannot, because all of them have a multiplicative factor of 2. And it's also -1, right? And you can also identify the value of d is going to be -1 because the least value is -4 and the highest value is 2. So A is -4 minus 2 over 2, -6 over 2, that is -3, absolute value of this. That is why amplitude is 3. And midline, that is D, would be -4 plus 2 over 2, that is -1. So the only thing that is remaining is we have to identify whether it is cosine or sine and what is the phase shift. Okay. So right now, it is inverted cosine. It is not like cosine or sine. So if I move it to the left, but are they moving to the left or are they moving to the right? And all four of them, they are moving to the right. Hmm. Okay. So now I'll make the unit circle. Like I told you, initially if it were not shifted, this will be 0, this will be pi because the period is pi, this will be half of it, pi over 2, this will be pi over 4, and this will be 3 pi over 4. Now where are the midline values? The midline values at 0 you have -4, at pi over 2 you have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. At pi over 4 you have -1, and at 3 pi over 4 you have -1. Okay. So from this information from the graph, what I can say is it can be written as -3 cosine 2x minus 1. Why? Because -3 minus 1 is because cosine 0 is 1. So -3 minus 1 is -4. 3 minus 1 is 2. And these are the baseline values. So whatever we want, it should become -3 cosine 2x minus 1. Hmm. So it cannot be cosine, right? Because so then it has to be sine. So if you shift pi by 4, so I think it should be 3 sine 2 times x minus pi over 4 minus 1. Why so? Because sine of x minus pi over 2 should be negative cosine x. No, I want to delete it differently. I will do the options in this case. according to me, it should be 3 times sine, but I want to be sure of the answer. So we'll make the unit circle nevertheless. You have 0, pi is coming over here again. This is pi over 2, this is pi over 4, this is 3 pi over 4, this is negative 4, this is negative 1, this is this is 2, this is negative 1, it becomes negative 4 again. First option 3, 2 cos. What I'm doing? Yeah. Yeah. So in first option, if I make it, because it is 2, so it is going to be 0, it is going to be pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4. But you're shifting right by pi over 4. That means you're adding pi over 4 to all the values. So if you do that, then this would become pi over 4. Come on. This will become pi over 2. This will become 3 pi over 4. This will become pi. Yeah, and this will become pi plus pi over 4, that is 5 pi over 4. Now because it is cosine, 3 minus 1, this value should be 2. At pi over 4, we do not have 2, so this option is already cancelled. So just make it sine. Why is it lagging so much? This whiteboard is not working fine at all. Yeah. So now over here, because sine, over here it should be 0. So it should be negative 1. It is negative 1 at pi over 4 because this line is negative 1. And then at pi over 2, it should be 3 minus 1, which is 2. It is 2. At 3 pi over 4, it should be again negative 1. It is negative 1. And at pi, it should be negative 3 minus 1, negative 4. So it is there. So this is the correct answer. Okay. I don't know if I was able to explain it correctly or not. But yeah. And this one is option C. The other thing is it looks like a cosine graph. Yeah, and 0 will be over here. So at 0 also it's negative 4. So it's 3 times sine. Okay. And from here also we were able to tell because over here we could see that this will be negative 3 cosine 2x minus 1. Negative y because it is inverted. So you have to convert, so cosine to sine, it should be subtracted from pi over 2. So 2 times pi over 4 is pi over 2. That is why 3 times sine 2 times x minus pi over 4 will be the answer. I'm very bad at explaining this. Yeah. I don't know what I did. But I hope I was able to explain it. Now question number 21. Let f be a rational function that is graphed in the xy plane. Consider x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 7. The polynomial in the numerator of f has a 0 at x is equal to 1 and does not have a 0 at x is equal to 7. The polynomial in the denominator has 0 at both x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 7. The multiplicities of the zeros at x is equal to 1 in the numerator and in the denominator are equal. Which of the following statements is true? So it's a rational function. There is x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 7. So there's a 0 at x is equal to 1. That means you have x minus 1. And there's no x minus 7 on the top. Denominator has both at x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 7. So it has 0 at x minus 1 also, it has 0 at 7 also. So x minus 7 is also a factor. Multiplicity is the same. Okay. So if this is m, this is also m, that means it will cut. That means there's a whole at x is equal to 1. And there's a vertical asymptote at x is equal to 7. Option C. Okay. Whole at x is equal to 1 and vertical asymptote at x is equal to 7. I will for sure find how to do it in a faster way. Question number 20, how to explain it in a faster way actually. So question number 22, you have increasing function gives a number of followers in thousands for a new musical group. The table is given to you. If the model is correct, which best applies? Okay. So first we have to see if it's linear or not. So it is not linear because you can see you're adding 10, 20 to 30 is adding 10, 30 to 45 is adding 15. So option A, sorry, and option B are already cancelled. Now the only options remaining are option C and option D. Because it will be exponential. Now you have to identify which it should be. So if you look over here, yeah. So the values are increasing. Okay. So the values are increasing. That means the value of B has to be greater than 1. 30, 20, 45. Not linear. Increasing means B has to be greater than 1. So it will be 3 half to the power x. So 20 times 3 halves to the power t. And that is option D. Question number 23 is the polynomial function k is given by k of x is equal to ax to the power 4 minus bx cube plus 15. A and b are non-zero real constants. Each of the 0 has a multiplicity 1. In the xy plane, x-intercept is 17.997, 0. A 0 of k is negative 0.478 minus 0.801i. So there's one complex or imaginary complex 0 is given to you, and complex zeros always occur in pairs. So it cannot have 3 x-intercepts because 2 of them are complex zeros. So maximum intercepts that it can have is going to be 2. So option A is wrong. Option C, it has 4 real solutions. That is also wrong because you already have one imaginary solution. Tangent, zeros never tell us about tangent. But because negative 0.478 minus 0.801i is a 0, its conjugate where the I term if it's negative, it becomes positive. So negative 0.478 plus 0.801i is a 0 of k. So question number 23, the answer is B. because total zeros are going to be 4. 2 are real and 2 are complex. Because one is complex, that means the other one also has to be complex. So there are only 2 x-intercepts. And only 2 real. So those 2 options are gone. And 2, if negative 0.478 minus 0. It doesn't matter what is the now what are the numbers, we just have to find the complex conjugate. So there the imaginary part, you take the opposite of it. It's positive, it becomes negative. It's negative, it becomes positive. So this would become positive. So that is option B. Question number 24, the functions f and g are given by f of x is equal to log base 10 x minus 1 plus log base 10 x plus 3 and g of x is log base 10 x plus 9. Intersection. Intersection means you have to solve it. So now I'll go back to page number 1 because it is showing a lot of glitches. So I'll just arrange it a little. Yeah. So we are on question number 24. F of x and g of x should be equal to each other because we're finding their point of intersection. So log base 10 x minus 3, x minus 1 in fact, plus log base 10 x plus 3 will be equal to log base 10 x plus 9. So we'll combine the logs together, it will become log base 10 x minus 1 times x plus 3 is equal to log base 10 x plus 9. Now you can take the anti-logs, logs can cancel. X minus 1 times x plus 3 is x squared plus 3x minus x is plus 2x minus 3 is equal to x plus 9. So minus x minus 9 minus x minus 9, you will get x squared plus x minus 12 is equal to 0. This is x plus 4 times x minus 3. X is equal to negative 4, x is equal to 3. Now negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5, that is not part of the domain. So x is equal to 3 is the only answer. And that is option A. X is equal to negative 4 is extraneous. Okay? Because it is not fitting the domain, because logs cannot, the arguments inside logs cannot be negative. Four more questions remaining. You have to find all the values where 2 sine square theta is equal to negative sine theta. Two sine square theta is equal to negative sine theta. So you can assume sine theta as x. So 2x squared is equal to negative x. 2x squared plus x is equal to 0. It will become x times 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So getting x is equal to 0 or x is equal to negative 1/2. That means sine theta is equal to 0 or sine theta is equal to negative 1/2. So sine theta is 0. If you make the unit circle at 0 and pi and 2 pi, you don't have 2 pi, so that's a good thing. So 0 and pi are the solution. 1/2 and sine theta is negative over here and over here. And 1/2 is for 30 degrees, that is pi over 6. So in third quadrant it will be pi plus pi over 6. And in fourth quadrant it will be 2 pi minus pi over 6. So it is 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. So these four values. Option B. All right. Yeah. So this is the graph that is given to us. And now f of theta is equal to 4 times cosine 2 theta. There are 5 points labeled A, B, C, D, and E. If the domain is restricted to 0 to pi over 2, okay, the portion that remains consists of two pieces. One of the pieces is the graph from C to E. So from C to E means from C to E. Okay. You have to find the other piece. This is question number 26. 4 cosine 2 theta. And you're restricting from 0 to pi over 2. So 2 theta means the period is going to be 2 pi over 2, that is pi. So first let me do that. So it should be, and you're multiplying it with 4, so it should be 4, it should be 0, it should be negative 4, it should be 0 and should become 4 again. So from 0 to pi over 4, you're going from 4 to 0. And from pi over 4 to pi over 2, you're going from 0 to negative 4. So let's see over here. At 0 angle, you have 4. And at pi over 4, you're having 0. And at pi over 4, it is 0. Pi over 2 is this angle in the unit circle because theta is there. Because we are not plotting according to 2 theta, plotting according to theta. So when theta is pi over 2, it's negative 4. So originally this is pi over 2, negative 4 means you're changing the direction, that means you're going down. So this will be the remaining portion. That is from E to D in third quadrant. So option D. Okay. So for pi over 2, you should go in the direction of pi over 2 because the value is negative, you're changing the direction. So you're going in the negative direction. That is why it is going from E to D. Because this value is negative. So you have to go from 0 to negative 4. And here you can see from 0 to negative 4, 0 to negative 4, you're going from E to D. Alright. Yeah. Now 27th. A physical center as a bicycle that patients use for exercise. The height above level periodically increases and decreases. So when t is equal to 0, it is at 12 inches. And the pedal's arm is 8 inches. That means you can go 8 up or 8 down. If the patient pedals 1 revolution per second, so you're completing the entire revolution in 1 second. Which of the following could be the expression? Okay. So question number 27th. All of them are signs, so we do not need to think about everything else. So 12 inches above the ground at time t is equal to 0. That means your midline is 12. Your amplitude is because it will be a sine bx plus d, or bt plus d in this case, because you have time t is equal to 0. And in the options, you can see there is no phase shift, so we can directly take that. Now, so absolute value of A is 8. They were going to use it again. Yeah. So that means you're adding 12. A could be 8 or negative 8. And revolution, that means time period is 1 second. So 2 pi over b is equal to 1. That means b is equal to 2 pi. So it should be sine 2 pi t plus 12, and this could be negative 8 or 8. And let's see our options. Option D, because that is what matches our requirement. Because 12 should be alone, sine 2 pi t should be multiplied with 8 or negative 8. And now coming to the last question. Consider the graph of the polar function r is equal to f of theta, where f of theta is 1 plus 2 sine theta in the polar coordinate system. Which of the following is true about the distance between point with polar coordinates f of theta and theta? So there are four things given to us: positive increasing, negative increasing, positive decreasing, negative decreasing. So 0 to pi over 2. You have 1 plus 2 sine theta. So this is your sine graph. I don't think I can, yeah, I can change the colors from here. Yeah. You're multiplying by 2 and adding 1 to it. So you're starting from 1, this will become 3. Because you're going 2 up. Oh, this is weird. Okay, so basically period is 2 pi. At 0, the value is, so I will just find the values when different values of theta are given to you. So when theta is equal to 0, sine 0 is 0, 1 plus 2 is 3. When theta is equal to pi over 2, f of theta is going to be, sorry, this was just 1. So because sine 0 is 0. This will be 3. So you're going from 1 to 3, it is positive and it is increasing. Okay, 0 to pi over 2, it's positive and increasing, that is correct. Option C is already gone out of the window. Now 3 pi over 2 to 11 pi over 6. So when theta is equal to 3 pi over 2, because the shape is going to remain the same, it is increasing, but it is negative. So let's say theta is equal to 3 pi over 2. What is the value of f of theta? Negative 1, so it will be negative 1. And theta is equal to 11 pi over 6, it will be negative 1 half. And these are the only two intervals given to us. So now it's time to make the polar graph. At 0 you have 1. At pi over 2 it becomes 3, so we'll go like this. At 3 pi over 2 you have negative 1, so will come over here. And at 11 pi over 6 it is 0. So distance is decreasing, as you can see. Distance is not increasing, because when it is negative, then your distance was 1, now distance is becoming 0, so that is also not the correct option. So the correct option is option A. So if it is negative and increasing, then distance will decrease, okay, because it will become the opposite. And if it is negative and decreasing, then distance will be increasing. So option D is gone. Positive and decreasing, it is decreasing, but from 0 to pi over 2 it is not decreasing, it is increasing. So option A. All right, because option C you can already get rid of it. And option B, it's negative and increasing, that is correct, but distance is decreasing, distance is not increasing. All right, because distance between origin at 3 pi over 2 it is 1, and at 11 pi over 6 it's 0, so it's decreasing from 1 to 0. So it's option A. Yeah, and that is it. We have done all the non-calculator questions. I'm running out of time. So, and the second part, we'll do next time, the 12 questions. So yeah, and that is calculator section. So it'll be comparatively easier, because the use of calculator is allowed to you. Solving questions is a different thing and explaining is a different thing. I hope I did a good job in polar and trigonometry, but I will try my best to improve on that aspect. Thank you so much, whoever was watching live, and whoever wasn't, you can watch it later on. Thank you so much. Yeah, bye.